Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I was saying, so I don't know how much you heard, but I was saying, I will go a little bit quick today. We'll try to recite all these verses and we will try to read Prabhupada's purport. So please take turns to read them, take turns one after another. We have understood the concept of spirit versus matter in last few verses, and Krishna is again reinforcing those concepts. He's going into details of what spirit soul is. Okay. So since there is a lot of overlap in the concepts, I will go a little bit faster. That is what I was saying before. And I was also saying that Krishna does repeat a lot of concepts, a lot of principles in Bhagavad Gita, because that is the mark of a good teacher who repeats themselves and sort of emphasizes, reinforces in our mindset, in our consciousness, those important principles. So, the first important principle, first important teaching given in Bhagavad Gita is difference between spirit and matter. This is where self realization starts. Self realization starts by understanding difference between spirit and matter. This is where all of us fumble. The first step is where we are all fumbling. We don't even know the difference between spirit and body. We don't understand that we are not this body. And despite understanding so many instructions on this matter that we are not this body, we still maintain very strong bodily identification. We still keep acting on bodily platform. That is why this point that we are not this body, we are soul, we should understand our identity as soul, the real self's identity as spirit. This really needs to go deep into our consciousness so that we stop acting just through bodily platform all the time. Okay. So let's read this verse 2.18. I'll recite and you will follow. अंतवंत इमे देहा अंतवंत इमे देहा नित्यस्योक्ता शरीरिणा नित्यस्योक्ता शरीरिणा
नित्यशोक्ता
अनाशिनो अपरम्यस्य अनाशिनो
अनाशिनो
अप्रमेयस्य
परमेश्वर
तस्माद्युध्यस्व भारत
तस्माद्युध्यस्व
तस्माद्युध्यस्व
भारत.
भारत. Okay, can somebody read the translation?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
Translation: the material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, in a few minutes you can start reading the purport also, but let me just break down this verse. So let's look at the Sanskrit also. Antavant ime deha. So this body, this deha means material body, okay, matter. This has antavant, meaning this is destructible. This has a beginning and an end. Okay, it will have an end. It is temporary. But now look at this word, shariri. Okay, last class we learnt a word dehi. Dehi no asmin yatha dehe. What is the difference between dehi and deha? Who can tell?
I can tell Mataji.
Yes.
Dehi is the person residing in the body, and Deha is the body itself.
Yes, Hari Bol, wonderful. So Dehi is the person, the real soul, the self, the self, the real person residing in the body. So Dehi means an embodied soul, meaning a soul that has accepted a body is called Dehi. Similarly, by that logic, what does Shariri means? Same thing. Shariri and Sharira. There are two words. Shariri means?
Maybe Shariri means maybe the person residing in the body, and Sharir is the Deha, body
Yes.
itself.
100%. So again, if you look at it, Shariri means an embodied soul. So same Shariri and Dehi means the same thing. So one who resides in the Sharir or in the body is called Shariri. The one who resides in the Deha is called Dehi. So Deha and Sharir mean the same thing, meaning body or matter. And Dehi and Shariri means the embodied soul, okay, the real person. So the deha, the body has antvant. It is temporary, it will not last, it will get destroyed. But the shariri, the soul, is what is the characteristics of the soul? It is nityasya. Nityasya means it is eternal in existence. Okay. Ukta means it is said. So Krishna is saying it is said that shariri is eternal. It is anashino. Uska nash nahi ho sakta, meaning it is indestructible. Aprameyasya. Aprameyasya means it is very tiny, it is very minute. It is immeasurable. Who remembers the size of the soul from last class? Last class, we understood the measurement of the soul as described in our scriptures.
Is it Mataji 1/10,000th part of the hair?
Rebol, yes, Mataji, it is 1 by 10,000th of the tip of the hair. Okay, 1 by 10,000th of the tip of the hair. Okay, aprameyasya, it is immeasurable. So these are the three characteristics given, that Shariri is eternal, it is indestructible, and it is immeasurable. It is a very minute spiritual particle, or Prabhupada was calling it a spiritual atom. Okay, it is an atomic spiritual particle. It is very minute. So let's read the purport. I think Sheetal Mataji had to drop out. Who wants to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, true.
The material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately or it may do so after 100 years. It is a question of time only. There is no chance of maintaining it indefinitely. But the spirit soul is so minute that it can not even be seen by an enemy, to say nothing of being killed. As mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that no one can have an idea how to measure its dimension. So from both viewpoint, there is no cause of lamentation, because the living entity as he is cannot be killed, nor can the metal body be saved for any length of time or permanently protected. The minute particle of the whole spirit acquires this metal body according to his work, and therefore observance of religious principle should be utilized. One second. Okay. In the Vedanta Sutra, the living entity is qualified as light because he is part and parcel of the supreme light. As sunlight maintains the entire universe, so the light of the soul maintains this metal body. As soon as the spirit soul is out of this metal body, the body begins to decompose, and therefore it is the spirit soul which maintains this body. The body itself is unimportant. Arjuna was advised to fight and not to sacrifice the cause of religion for the metal body, for metal bodily considerations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So you can still hear me, right?
Yes. Yes, Mataji.
Okay. So this is straightforward, that material body is perishable, but spirit soul is very small. Prabhupada is saying it cannot even be measured. How can anyone kill it? It's so tiny. And there is no permanence to the body. So you cannot, so even if somebody hopes to maintain their body permanently, if somebody thinks I want to just stay in this body forever, that is not possible, because it is matter of time only. Prabhupada is saying when the body will die, body can be destroyed within a minute, or it may last 100 years. It's just a question of time only. It depends on what tenure you have been given in that body. Only for that long you can live in that body, but we have a set limit within that body, and we cannot exceed that limit. No matter people may try, like Hiranyakashipu tried to become eternal in that body, but it's not possible, because body is matter, and matter will always degrade. It will become degenerated, and a soul has only a set amount of time in that body. After that, it has to vacate it. It is like a rented apartment. Once your lease is over, you have to vacate it for the next and go somewhere else. So you have to get another accommodation. So similarly, soul has to get another accommodation after it leaves that body. Here Prabhupada is mentioning a very nice point, that you get your body according to the work. So the next body will how would you get next body? Depending on your work in this body, depending on the desires you maintained within this body. So body is just a vehicle for the soul, right? Body is just an instrument for the soul to use. So if you misuse this body, if you did illegal things, illicit things through this body, then the next body you will get accordingly. If you had some desires that you could not fulfill with this body, then whatever desires you entertained, those desires you may be able to fulfill through the next body. So this body is just a vehicle to perform action, to fulfill your desires, right? If you maintain high quality desires, if you have spiritual desires, then you are making your way towards the spiritual destination. But if you have bodily desires that you've not been able to fulfill, then you will keep getting another body one after another. So in this way, based on what work you do within this body, what desires you maintain, what actions you perform, accordingly you will get the next body. But regardless, you will have to leave this body, and body will begin to decompose as soon as the soul leaves. So soul is giving the life within the body. Soul is the animation, is animating the body. Soul is the living force within the body. And as soon as the soul leaves, the body has no further use. It just decomposes, it just degrades. So the body itself is unimportant. It is only important, it can only be used as an instrument while the soul is in it. So this is, I think this is very straightforward. Can go to the next one. Ya enam veti hantaram, ya enam veti hantaram, yaschayanam manyate hatam,
Yaschainam
yaschayanam
manyate
manyate
hatam.
hatam, ubhau tau na vijanito, ubhau
Ubhau
tau
tau
na
na
vijanito,
vijanito.
nayam hanti na hanyate, nayam
Nayam
hanti
hanti
na
na
hanyate.
hanyate.
Okay, please read. Who
I can
wants to
read.
read the
Hare
next one? You
Krishna.
can read the translation and purport both, please.
I can read. Hare Krishna. Neither he who thinks the living entity, the slayer, nor he who thinks it's slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. Purport. When an embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that the living entity within the body is not killed. The spirit soul is so small that it is impossible to kill him by any material weapon, as will be evident from subsequent verses. Nor is the living entity killable because of his spiritual constitution. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is Mahim syat sarva bhutani. Never commit violence to anyone, nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjun, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is also straightforward. So what is Krishna saying in this one? Ya enam veti. Veti, Veda, Veti, Vidhu. Those words typically refer to knowing something. Okay, so if you see here, Veti means knows. So whoever thinks that soul kills or gets killed, okay, that's not correct knowledge. So neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, so living entity is the killer, the soul can kill another soul. This is wrong understanding. Nor he who thinks it's slain, or whoever thinks that soul can be killed. Okay, slayer or slain, both knowledges are incorrect. This person is not in knowledge. For the self means the soul, the spirit soul, the anuatma, the jivatma, neither it slays nor it is slain. Okay, the soul cannot kill another soul, and the soul cannot be killed by anybody. Okay, so soul cannot kill and it cannot be killed by anyone. So whoever understands that soul can be killed or can kill is in wrong understanding. So what is the understanding here? Prabhupada is saying, when we commit violence, we are committing violence against the body. Okay, so somebody can say that I'm not, since I'm not the killer, I can, I can kill all these people, and that's this is fine, right? I can kill animals for the taste of my tongue, because actually I'm not the killer. I'm not. You said that the soul cannot be killed, so their souls is not getting killed. So if their soul is not getting killed, how does it matter? I'm just killing their body. I can eat their meat. I can enjoy their flesh because I'm not killing their souls. Or willy-nilly you can go around killing people because they cause some disturbance in your life. You can go around killing people. Is that allowed? No, that's true. You cannot kill anybody's soul, but still, you're not supposed to harm their bodies either unnecessarily. So Prabhupada is saying this does not give us a license to animal slaughter. This does not give us license to organize all kind of animal killing and meat eating. Why? Because even though you're not killing their souls, you are not supposed to harm anybody's body either. Because body is a vehicle for the soul. Remember, body is a very important instrument for the soul. The soul residing in that body has been given the body for a purpose. It has a certain duration within that body, and you're not supposed to just whimsically end that tenure within the body for the soul. You cannot. You do not have that deciding power. Only somebody who has an authority, like in this case, this is a proper authoritative religious dharmic war in which Krishna is giving full authority to fight and kill these bodies. That is different. That is not really violence. This is a dharmic for dharma. This violence is being committed as a government punishing a sinful person. This kind of violence is allowed, but willy-nilly, whimsically, just to satisfy our own senses for some shallow superficial purposes like meat eating, for example, those type of killings are not allowed. Okay, people typically do not have 99.9% people do not have any license to commit violence against other people's body. Okay, so this verse is sometimes misused by saying that okay, the soul cannot be killed and the soul is not the killer, so I am free from any guilt because I did not kill and I did not kill their soul, so that means I do not get any reactions. You did not kill the soul, and you are right, the soul does not kill, but you still killed the body. You as a soul had the desire to enjoy the flesh eating, to eat the meat. So that is why you will get a reaction, because you committed unnecessary violence against another person's body. You will get a reaction or a sinful response to that. So you will have to, the soul would have to tolerate that sinful reaction. So unnecessarily, we cannot commit violence against other people's bodies. This is a very important point to understand from this verse. But Arjuna, then Prabhupada is saying, Arjuna is engaged in killing for the principle of religion, not whimsically. Okay. So when a government punishes the criminal, that type of punishment is actually necessary to stop their criminal acts, to stop their aggression in the society, to stop their violence in the society. You are punishing, and that punishment is given after putting a lot of thought into it. That is why you see that death sentences or executions are not very common. You have to put a lot of thought into even while punishing someone. You have to put a lot of thought while using violence as punishment. So this is the principle here. Let's keep going for a little bit more. This is a very important verse. Actually, next time we'll try to memorize this verse once you've memorized 2.14. So has a different meter. This is the same meter that Karpanya Dosho did, okay? If you all remember Karpanya Dosho verse, this is the same meter, okay? It's a longer verse. So how do you sing it? It's like this. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin. Everyone. Na
Jayate
jayate
mriyate
mriyate
va
va
kadachin.
kadachin. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya.
Nayam
Nayam bhutva
bhutva
bhavita
bhavitavana
va na bhuya.
bhuya.
Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano.
Ajo nitya
Nitya
shashvatoyam
shashvatoyam purano.
purano.
Nahanyate hanyamane sharire.
Nahanyate hanyamane
Hanyamane
sharire.
sharire. Okay, please read this verse.
I can read Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Continue to read word for Mataji.
Let me just discuss the translation of this verse, just to understand the meaning quickly. So this is easy to understand. Na jayate. So there is no birth. Jayate means there is no time when you can pinpoint that the soul took birth at this time. Okay, this was the time period when the soul was born. So na jayate, it does not take birth. Mriyate, it does not die. There is no point of time in the existence of this creation where the soul will ever die. Okay, so we cannot pinpoint a time when the soul took birth, and there will never be a time in the existence in the whole eternity when the soul will ever die. Why? Because it is Nitya. Remember, we said the word Nitya, and that word Nitya again comes here because the soul is eternal. It has no birth, no death. Kadachin. Okay, at any time in past, present, or future, it has Kadachin. It has never taken birth and will never take birth, and it will not die. It has never died, never die in future either. Okay. Nayam bhutva bhavitava na bhuya. It has never come into being. It does not come into being, and it will not come into being, meaning that it always existed. ऐसा नहीं कि वो कभी पैदा हुई थी. This is the time when it came into existence. No, it never came into existence. It was always there. Okay. Now we are so trapped in the time energy in this world. Okay. Please remember that time factor or time is an energy of the Lord. Okay. We will understand about time factor in Bhagavad Gita. There are 5 important concepts in Bhagavad Gita, and one of those concepts is time factor. So one concept is soul. Okay, 5 concepts of Bhagavad Gita is one concept is soul, which is what we are reading right now. Second concept is Bhagwan, which we will read in future. Third concept is connection between the two through yoga. Okay, especially karma yoga, which we will read in future. Then fourth concept is Prakriti, or this world, this material nature. And fifth concept is time factor. Okay, time factor or time energy of the Lord, Kal. Okay, we also read about those. So right now we are on the first concept, which is soul. Now time exists in this world in such a way that we are trapped within the time. So it is very difficult for us to imagine anything without time. But the soul is timeless. Okay, anything spiritual is timeless. We are very used to saying, 5,000 years back Krishna came, or this many years ago Bhagavatam was delivered to us, this many years ago Dhruv Maharaj was there, this many years ago Prahlad Maharaj came, this many years ago Lord Ram was there. So we are very much conditioned to work according to time. Okay, in our daily life time is a very important factor. This time factor has trapped us in this material world because we are trapped in the cycle of time, in the cycle of birth and death, and then in the cycle of childhood, youth, old age and death, disease, all that also. That is also going according to time. So we are functioning very much according to time. So anything timeless is beyond our conception, beyond our understanding. It is inconceivable to us that how something can be timeless. But please take Krishna's word here that soul is eternal, it is timeless. There was no time when it did not exist. There was no time when it will cease to exist in future. Okay, that is the meaning of these first 2 lines. Then Ajo. Okay, so Krishna is sort of repeating himself. He's saying Ajo. Aja means, Aja is typically used for Krishna or for typically anything spiritual. Okay, but soul is also Aja. Soul is unborn. Okay, it never takes birth. Nitya, it is eternal. Shashwat, if you think about it, all these words have the same meaning. It is unborn. Krishna is really emphasizing, जैसे ठोक के बोल रहे हैं बात को, really hammering it on. He's hammering the nail in that soul is Aja, it is unborn, it is Nitya, it is eternal, it is Shashwat, it is Shashwat means it is permanent. Purana means very ancient, like has always existed. Something that has always existed is Purana. Okay. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. But body is not like that. Body takes birth, body exists, body dies, body goes through 6 changes. Soul does not go through 6 changes. Okay. So by going through those changes, body may go through those changes, soul does not go through those changes. Soul does not take birth. Soul does not die with the body. So na hanyate hanyamane sharire. By killing the body, the soul is not killed. Okay. So sort of repeating the point again and again, but very important for us to understand that we are the soul. Once you start perceiving this whole world from the point that I am soul, that I am a part and parcel of Krishna, that I'm a spiritual spark of this supreme person, that I'm a servant of the supreme Lord, that I am in this body for a very short tenure, for a very short duration, like renting a, like going to a hotel. I'm there for just a small time, just for a short time. I do not make my home there. I do not start living there forever, make all my permanent arrangements in a hotel. Nobody does that. They know that they have to come here, do something, whatever they're doing, fulfill their purpose. Let's say you go for a conference, fulfill that purpose, come back to your family. So this is not my real place. This is not my real home. I've come here. I need to use this body for a specific purpose, not use it for anything illegal, illicit. Use it properly for the purpose that it is given to me by Krishna, and then leave this world, and go back home, back to Godhead, where my original father is, where my original family is. That's where I need to go. So this point needs to really be hammered in, and that's why Krishna is repeating it over and over again. Let's read this, Prabhuji. Please go ahead.
Mataji. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one of the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called a steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on the material body, the body takes his birth. The soul does not take birth here, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has a death, and because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in the history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we see the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproduct of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of the particular man. The body developed because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the 6 changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad 1.2.18, we also find a similar passage which reads, Mataji,
Prabhuji, इसको skip कर सकते हैं.
okay.
Let me just highlight one point here. So please remember these 6 changes that come in the matter. So matter, anything matter. Remember, this world is matter, okay? And body is also matter, okay? So 6 changes come in the matter, okay? Not only just in the body, but anything that is matter, 6 changes can happen. It takes birth, it exists, or we can say remains for some time. So it takes birth, exists, then it grows, then it produces some byproducts like children. Then it dwindles, okay, slowly starts degrading, and at last it vanishes. So all the matter does ultimately dwindle and vanish, okay? So it takes birth and it ends with death or vanishing. And in between, it may go through these stages: growing, producing byproducts, existing for some time, like that. But soul has none of those changes. And Prabhupada is quoting another similar passage, very similar sounding verse from Kathopanishad. That almost the same. If you see, only the second line is different, and the few words of the first line are different. But Prabhupada is quoting more scriptures to substantiate this particular concept of soul not taking birth and being eternal. Let's go a little bit further down. Now, the concept of Paramatma, we discussed this last time. So, we are the atomic soul. We are a very small part of the supreme whole. Okay, supreme whole is Bhagwan or Paramatma. And we are very small. So, we are called Anuatma because of being very small, we are called Anuatma or Jivatma. Okay. But the supreme person is called super soul, Paramatma or Vibhuatma. We read those terms last time, okay? Paramatma and Jivatma, these are the 2 concepts. Where does the Jivatma or the soul live in this body? Anybody remembers? I don't know if I covered it actually. If you remember, please tell me. Where
The
does this?
heart?
Yes, in the heart region. We typically don't say in the heart, we say in the region of the heart. Okay. So soul lives in the region of the heart. And soul is accompanied by whom?
Paramatma.
Paramatma. So there are two entities living in this body. Okay. So you have to be very careful. Paramatma, the supreme person, is living, is coexisting with the soul, next to the soul. Okay. And it is always watching the actions of the soul. Okay. So we have to understand that Paramatma is always there. So if you think you're doing something illicit and nobody's watching you, remember that Paramatma is always watching you. Okay. He does not interfere in the activities of the Jivatma, but he's always there. He's always watching, and he knows your desires, he knows your heart, he knows your mind, he knows your dreams and goals and ambitions and intentions and everything. Okay, he knows everything about you, but he stays aloof. He does not interfere because he gives Jivatma their free will, their minute independence. Jivatma has their free will. Until Jivatma turns to Paramatma for guidance, Paramatma will not interfere with the actions of the Jivatma. Typically, Jivatmas are not turning towards Paramatma for action, for guidance. So that's why Paramatma is just watching. And the example for this comes as if there are two birds sitting on a tree. One of the bird is busy eating the fruits of the tree, and the other bird is just watching. Okay, the one that is watching is Paramatma, and the bird that is eating the fruits of the tree, that is trying to enjoy this world and performing various actions in this world, that is the Jivatma. Okay, so the fruit eating bird is the Jivatma, the atomic soul, the spirit soul, the Anuatma, and the watching bird, the one who is witnessing all your actions, is the super soul, the Paramatma. Okay, so there are two entities in the heart region. Okay. And this Paramatma, when we leave the body, he does not leave the spirit soul. He goes with each and every spirit soul, he goes to the next body. No matter what body you go, no matter what planet you go to. Suppose you get some hellish planets, suppose you get some lower planets where you are going to be tortured and stuff. He will still be in that body alongside the Jivatma. He is your ever present well-wisher. He does not leave your side. Okay. If you go to some lower animal species, let's say you become a frog or a dog or some other lower species, he will accompany you in that body also. So Paramatma never leaves Jivatma and always accompanies from one body to another. Please read this last paragraph, Prabhu, then we'll go to the next verse.
Okay. Both the super soul, Paramatma, and the atomic soul, Jivatma, are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of living being. And only one who has become free from all material desires, as well as the lamentations, can, by grace of Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters. And Arjuna is an atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Hari Bol.
Very good. So I think we discussed this. Let's go to the next one. Let's recite this. Veda vinashinam nityam, Veda vinashinam nityam, Ya enam ajam avyayam, Ya enam ajam avyayam, Katham sa purusha partha, Katham sa purusha partha, Kam ghatayanti hantikam, Kam ghatayati hantikam. Okay, let's read this. Who can read this?
I can read Mataji.
Yes.
O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Purport: everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility, and how to apply violence rests with the person in knowledge. Although the justice of the peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according to the code of justice. In Manu Samhita, the law book for mankind, it is supported that a murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, The king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice. And thus, Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that in such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So, for the administration of justice, so called violence is permitted. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge, so there is no possibility of sinful reaction. Haribol.
Mhm. So this is also straightforward, just bringing your attention to some words here. Again, remember Veda always means knowing something, knowledge. Veda, Vedavad, Veda, Vidu. Those words always refer to knowing something, knowledge. So he's saying that what are some characteristics of soul? So same things again. Avinashi means indestructible or imperishable. Nityam means eternal again. Okay. Ajam, again, the word ajam is coming, unborn. You can add these words to your Sanskrit dictionary also. Start building up your Sanskrit vocabulary also. That Nitya is this, ajam is unborn. Avyayam is something that cannot change. Or immutable. So something that does not mutate, something that is steady, Prabhupada said before, something that is kutastha, it does not change, avyayam. Okay, the matter changes, soul does not change. So uh, so how can a person, this is like a rhetorical question by Krishna, that if somebody who knows that soul has all these qualities, how can they attempt to kill the soul? So they're not capable of killing the soul, because soul is indestructible, imperishable, immutable. Soul is eternal, it cannot be killed. So, yet in this battle, Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to kill. But to kill what? Kill the bodies of these people. And Prabhupada is saying that violence also has its utility. Okay, so we talked about this point in detail, that violence cannot be whimsical. It has to be a very thought out process. It should be like an operation. Like, you know how these days government is calling all our all these actions they are taking against terrorism and all as operation. Why? Because it is like a surgical strike or surgical operation, where you're not trying to harm the other person, but you're trying to kill their tendency of committing a crime or sinful act, aggression, over and over again whimsically. So we are trying to kill this sinful tendency, this aggressive tendency from the people. So violence has its utility in a way that if a criminal is punished, then they will appropriately punished by the law, then they are actually relieved from their sinful reaction. Okay, they will not commit sin again, they will not commit crime again, because they have been properly punished, they have been corrected. So corrective measure against a dharma actually purifies the criminal also. If the government neglects to take the corrective measure against the adharma or adharmic people, they do not punish them appropriately, then that person will keep on committing crime there, and they will keep on building their um, data of sinful actions. So they'll keep building up a lot of sinful actions, and then they will suffer in future. They will have to suffer those sinful reactions in future. So with proper knowledge of consequences, an authoritative, lawful person, an administrative person should, with full knowledge, take action against adharma or adharmic people, and curb their tendency to commit repetitive criminal activities. Okay, that is what that verse, Prabhupada is saying in that verse. But this is a very important verse. We are continuing with the characteristics of the verse, of the characteristics of the self, the real self, the soul, some more features of the soul. Now, this is a beautiful analogy given by Krishna. Some of you may know this verse, very important verse. Let's sing this. Bhasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. Please sing. जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि Anyani samyati namani dehi. Anyani samyati namani dehi. Very, very beautiful verse. Please read the translation.
As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones.
Haribol. So another mark of a good teacher is that they give analogies. Okay, a teacher, Krishna is our teacher here. He's a teacher for Arjuna right now. So he's giving this analogy. The word analogy means something that appeals to our logical understanding, something that is very routine um, uh, for us, something that we understand based on our logic in a routine life. And you explain a spiritual concept based on that logic, because that logic is already understood by us. We apply that in our day-to-day life. When we explain a difficult, a complex spiritual principle or spiritual concept through that logic, then that concept becomes easy to understand. So this is what Krishna is doing. That's what an analogy means. Okay, but analogy has its value only to a certain extent, so you cannot keep pulling the analogy forever. Here the analogy Krishna is using is the example of garments. Just like on a daily basis, you are changing your garments, you're changing your clothes, and when a cloth becomes old, tattered, worn out, then you give it up, you throw it out, or you give it away, and then you buy new clothes. You put on a new cloth because you cannot keep putting old and worn out clothes. Similarly, the body is like a old garment for the soul. When it becomes old, useless, tattered, it is not serving the purpose of the soul. It is not acting as a proper vehicle for the soul to perform its actions, to fulfill its desires. Then the soul has to give up that body, just like you give up that garment. So death is nothing but the separation of the soul from the body. That is the death. And that just does not mean that the existence of the soul is terminated. It just means that it is a transition of the existence. It is not termination of the existence of the soul, it is transition of the existence. Now the soul will go on to its next destination. It will get another body or another destination. If it did some activities where it qualifies for liberation, then it will go on, get liberated, and enter into the spiritual world. So it will enter into a next destination, but it will give up that body after it becomes old and useless. Let's read this first paragraph, please. Prabhuji, you can continue.
Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept the continuous changes of the body which appear from childhood to boyhood, and from the boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in the previous verse, 2.13. Transference of atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desires of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desires of another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad, as well as the Svatara Upanishad,
Vetashvatara. Mhm.
Svatara Upanishad, compares the soul and the supersoul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One one of the bird, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruits of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friends. Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing in his position from one tree to another, or from the body to or from the one body to another. The jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other birds as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntary surrender unto Krishna for instructions, the subordinate bird immediately become free from all lamentations.
You can
But
skip the verse, Prabhuji. Let's read the last two paragraphs.
Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with the anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or other he turns his face to his friend, to Lord, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend, Krishna, and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him, and thus hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised here by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his friend and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of the bodily reactions and promoted to the highest status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation.
Very bold. So I think we have discussed all of this. The concept of two birds on the tree is very very much explained in detail here by Prabhupada. So the tree is the body on which these two birds are sitting. One is Krishna, one is the Atma, atomic soul, the spirit soul. Now, this is very actually, I feel that this understanding of the soul is actually very relieving. It relieves us from the anxiety, because we know that nothing can happen to the real self. And even during this body, as we are going through these changes of the bodily changes that give us trouble, that give us anxiety, moroseness, lamentation. Prabhupada is using these words, or anxiety, struggle of existence, moroseness, lamentation, all these things that are happening to the bird while sitting on that tree, or you can say that are happening to us while residing in this body. If we just look towards Krishna, if we just look towards the other bird, then he will take care of those things. So we feel very much free from those type of anxieties, free from lamentation, if even during while living in this body we just turn and look towards the Paramatma, just get his guidance like Krishna did. So, and not only in the time of confusion and chaos, as in this case, but in all times, in all good times, in all comfortable situations, when you're still healthy, when you're still functioning, give your best to Krishna, right? You're in a good health. So use this body for Krishna's purpose. Look towards him for guidance. How should I use my body? How should I channel my desires in a proper way? How should I conduct myself in this body with other people in this world? What actions should I perform? Look towards Krishna for guidance, and that will take care of all the anxieties, all the lamentations, not only during the hard, troubled times, but also during the easy, comfortable, relatively okay times in this material world. Otherwise, Prabhupada is saying there will always be moroseness, anxiety, struggle for existence while the bird is just busy enjoying the fruits of the tree. So don't just be focused on the fruits of the tree. They will only cause trouble. They will only cause entanglement. They will bring consequences. So don't just be busy enjoying the material world, enjoying the fruits of the material world. Rather, look towards Krishna for guidance on what should be done, how I should live in this world, in this body. So Krishna is always there. It's a very, I feel it's a very relieving thought that he's always there with us in this body as Paramatma, and he accompanies us outside of this body also when we go to the next destination. So we can always turn towards him. He's a ever present, our forever well-wisher, eternal best friend. Shall we read one more quickly, or do you want to stop and do it next time? This is the same concept.
Nainam, should I read?
Okay, you want to go ahead? Let's read this. I'll recite. Please follow. We'll read this one more and then stop. Okay. Nainam chindanti shastrani. Nainam chindanti shastrani. Nainam dahati pavaka.
Nainam
dahati pavaka. Na chainam kledyantyaapo.
Na chainam kledyantyaapo.
Na shoshyati maruta.
Na shoshyati maruta.
Okay, yes, please read.
Yes, Haribol. The soul can never be cut to pieces
by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Purport. All kinds of weapons, swords, flame weapons, rain weapons, tornado weapons, etc., are unable to kill the spirit, soul. It appears that there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, etc., in addition to the modern weapons of the fire. Even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons, but formerly there were other weapons made of all different types of material elements. Fire weapons are fire weapons were contracted by fire weapons were contracted by
Water weapons.
yes, by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor do modern scientists have knowledge of tornado weapons. Nonetheless, the soul can never be cut into pieces, nor annihilated by any number of weapons, regardless of scientific devices. The Mayavadi cannot explain how the individual soul came into existence simply by ignorance and consequently became covered by the illusionary energy. Nor was it possible to cut the individual souls from the original Supreme Soul. Rather, the individual souls are eternally separated parts of the Supreme Soul. Because they are atomic individual souls, eternally Sanatana, they are prone to be covered by the illusory energy. And thus, they become separated from the association of the Supreme Lord, just as the sparks of the fire. Although one is quality with the fire, are prone to extinguish when out of the fire. In the Varha Pran, the living entities are described as separated parts and parcels of the Supreme. They are eternally so, according to the Bhagavad Gita also. So, even after being liberated from the illusion, the living entity remains separate identity, as is evident from the teachings of the Lord to Arjuna. Arjuna became liberated by the knowledge received from Krishna, but he never became one with Krishna. Hari
Hari
Bol.
Bol. This is also a very important memory verse. All of these are memory verses practically. So, Nainam Chindanti Shastrani. So, none of the Shastras or weapons can cut down a soul. Chindanti means cut. So, it cannot be cut into pieces by any weapons. Nainam Dahati Pavaka. Pavaka means fire. Dahati means burn. So, it cannot be burnt by fire. Na chayanam kledyantyaapo. Apo means water. Kledyantyaapo. Kledyanti means moisten. So water cannot moisten it. Okay, it cannot get uh, become wet by water or become dissolved in water or anything. It cannot get burnt by fire and cannot be cut to pieces by weapons. Na shoshyati maruta. And so all these elements of the world, the fire, the water, the air, maruta means air, the wind, cannot dry up the soul. So all these elements of the world or the weapons of the world, nothing can destroy, can affect, can change the soul, can harm it in any way, okay, or affect it in any way. So Prabhupada has taken this opportunity to describe different type of weapons that used to exist in the previous ages. If you remember those previous uh, those TV episodes of Mahabharata, they used to have these fire weapons, and then Arjun will fire some kind of water weapon to extinguish the fire from the other one, like that. So there were all these type of weapons in the previous times, which we cannot even conceive nowadays. But Prabhupada is saying nuclear weapons of these days are like fire weapons. And like there used to be brahmastras, so many astras and shastras used to be there, but the point is that we cannot make any weapon that can affect the soul in any way, okay, regardless of whatever scientific device you come up with, you cannot affect the soul at all. So matter has no jurisdiction over the soul. It cannot affect the soul. Then this is a very important thing that Prabhupada is mentioning. If you see, Krishna is talking only about the soul, but Prabhupada keeps bringing our relationship with the Supreme Soul or with the Supreme Person, Krishna, so that we have that simultaneous understanding going on, okay? This understanding of our relationship with Bhagwan or with Paramatma will come in the future chapters, but Prabhupada is already giving us that understanding because he wants us to have that as the fundamental concept, as a very baseline, very strong root concept of our understanding of the relationship between soul and the super soul, of the relationship between Jiva and Bhagwan. So this relationship is why we are doing everything. The ultimate goal is to cultivate this relationship. The ultimate goal of Bhagavad Gita is to develop love for the Supreme Lord. So that's why even from the very beginning, Prabhupada starts telling us the relationship between the soul and the super soul. So right now he's saying that we are the eternally separated parts of the Supreme Soul. Okay, if you see here, eternally separated parts of the Supreme Soul. So you can here the analogy Prabhupada is giving is like the spark that is separated from the fire. The problem is this eternally separated part, this individual soul, this atomic soul, the jiva that has gotten separated from the association of the Supreme. The problem is it can now come under the influence of Maya or the illusory energy of the Lord. The inferior energy of the Lord can overcome this little spiritual spark. Okay. So it's like a child who has become separated from their parent, and the child can now be exploited by the undesirable elements of this world. So some unscrupulous people can now exploit the child because the child has decided to separate themselves from the parent. So similarly, we have separated ourselves from the Supreme Lord, and that's why we are now prone, Prabhupada is using this word prone, to become covered by Maya or by the inferior illusory energy of the Lord. Okay, it will trap us, and that's why we are now getting birth in one body to another. We are suffering this fate of going from one body to another and identifying ourselves with this body. All this has come upon us because we have separated from our Supreme Father. The other concept Prabhupada is mentioning is that we are separated part and parcels of the Supreme. This point is understood. But even when we go back to the Supreme, we do not just merge into the body of the Supreme. We are in the association of the Supreme. We are in a loving relationship with the Supreme. We are reunited, reconnected with the Supreme and serving Him in a particular mood or relationship. But we do not just merge into His existence. His existence is separate, and we maintain our own separate identity. So Prabhupada is saying the living entity remains a separate identity. Okay, Arjun will become liberated from this struggle of existence in the material world, from the influence of the Maya. He will become liberated. He will not have to take birth in one body to another. Jiva will get liberated from all that, but he will not become one with Krishna. You will still maintain your individual separate identity, and in that identity, you will go back to the Godhead, just like a child will go back to the parents. But he's not going to enter into the body of the parent. He's not going to become one with the parent in a way that he will merge into the body of the parent. He will become one with the parent because he will be reunited, reconnected with the parent. He will be serving the goals of the parent. He will be realigned with the desires and with the actions of the parent. He will be serving the parents. That's how he will be one with the parent, but not that he's merging into the body of the parents. The Mayavadi term that Prabhupada is using refers to those people who think that when one gets liberated, they just merge into the Brahma Jyoti of the Bhagwan, into the light, supreme light, into the light coming from the body of the Lord. We just merge into their body and just finish off our existence. But actually, we maintain our separate existence, separate identity, and we share a certain relationship of service, certain mood, and beautiful, intimate exchanges with the Lord by going back to Godhead, by living in association with the Lord. So that is what liberation means, not just merging into the effulgence or the jyoti. That is also a kind of liberation that does happen for some people, but that is not the ideal. That is not the topmost. So let's stop here. Let's take some questions. Sorry, I went a little overboard. We started late after the verse memorization. I humbly request everyone to memorize these verses that we are 2.13, 2.14, 2.7, 1.1. Those are the 4 verses I believe we have memorized so far. Please maintain your collection of verses and memorize them through the week. Remember that keep the transcendental vibrations going. It's not just for Sunday morning, okay? It's a daily endeavor. Whether you chant, whether you perform some spiritual activities, you eat prasad, keep the spiritual activities going, keep the spiritual vibrations going, keep your reading, hearing going. It's not just a Sunday morning activity. We are souls. Spiritual activities or spiritual duties should be foremost for us. Anything bodily that we are doing are very temporary. They will last within the realm of this body and then they will finish. So we have to carry out our responsibilities, but don't become so attached to just the bodily responsibilities that you neglect your actual spiritual responsibility of going back to Godhead. Please keep those in the name of balance. Sometimes we say, oh, balance karna hota hai, but we pay hardly 0.01% attention to spiritual duties and still 99.999% attention to the bodily duties. Balance actually means 50-50. If you can't do 50-50, at least do 10 and 90 or 30 and 70, something like that. Thank you so much. Who wants to ask any questions or share any thoughts or realizations? What did you learn today, or what do you want to share? Please go ahead.
Mataji, I want to tell like one thing which we wanted to say in the last class also. Like this was a very new thing to know. It's like I was also thinking the same. Like when we got liberated, we're going to be merged in the Krishna, you know. So it was very new to know. It's not going to be have that, and we're going to have our individual identity, and we're gonna be served the way we preach to the God to be, or the way we look to the God. You know that relation we can maintain when we'll go there. So it was very new actually. From the long time I was thinking the same. So we're gonna be merged on him.
Right. Haribol. Yes, Mataji. So our desires are independent and we each have a different mood. We each have a unique personality, unique emotions, unique desires. And we want to serve the Lord in a particular way, in a particular form. Like Hanumanji wants to serve Lord Ram. He's not going to serve Krishna. He wants to serve Lord Ram in Dasya Bhav, not in a friendly way, not in Madhurya Bhav. He's going to serve Lord Ram in Dasya Bhav. He's an eternal servant of the Lord. So nobody can take that away. So it's in a similar way, each soul has its own unique mood, unique identity, a unique form of the Lord with which they want to exchange relationships with in a unique emotion, a very unique service. We were doing some kind of unique service for the Lord in the eternal Dham, okay? And we will continue those services when we go back to Godhead. So we each have, Krishna has a whole entourage of gopas and gopis and mother and father and Brajvasis and so many people. And we have to find out, we will discover what our role was in Krishna's Leelas. Who else wants to share or ask anything?
I like the fact, Mataji, that Paramatma never leaves Jivatma and goes to the next body or destination with them.
Yes, Mataji. He's our best friend. He's our eternal well-wisher. Radheshyam Prabhu, His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu has a book called Our Best Friend. So he's our actual well-wisher, actual best friend. He goes everywhere. All your friends, all your family members, no matter how big a well-wisher they are, no matter how influential and rich and powerful and strong and wealthy and whatever they may be, nobody can accompany you after death, but only Paramatma will. So this is his mercy that no matter what body we may get a very, very fallen, low type of body, but he will accompany in that body also. Who else wants to share very wonderful realizations? Okay, so if nobody's sharing, shall we stop?
Mataji, I have one thing to share.
Yes,
what
Prabhu.
you noticed, you told us is that he's actually noting down our action silently. So that's important. So he actually notes down the action and then he actually also gives a judgment, and he also gives the result of our action. So all the three things he does.
And most importantly, he sanctions the actions also.
Right.
So you think you're doing something. This concept of doership will come in future. So he will sanction whether that thing gets done or not. So you may have an intention to do something, but it may not get done unless the Lord sanctions. So yes, he's the sanction, he's the witness, and we get the results of those action based on the action that we performed. So it's not something to be like we should be careful of our actions, yes, because Lord is watching, but it's not that we should take solace as devotees that Lord is a merciful Lord. He's there as a kind friend. So he's not a hard-hearted master. He's a very kind, loving father. So if you have confusions in your thoughts, in your actions, in your desires, you can consult him. He's there for guidance. And a lot of times the Paramatma's guidance is given through Guru Sadhu Shastra, because we are very impure and our consciousness is very impure. We are not able to access the guidance of Paramatma. So we should approach externally, we can approach Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, these three entities. So right now we are accessing Shastra, but this is a group of devotees, which is sadhus. And then eventually one should aspire to have a very pure, advanced soul, a self-realized Siddha soul as our Guru also, which is Prabhupada in this case for now. So we have association of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, all three going on right now. So this is how we can access Paramatma's guidance. Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing that point. Who else? Who else wants to share? Preeti Mataji or Neelveni Mataji, Hiral Mataji, Rekha Mataji, please go ahead and share. Any Rishank Prabhu, any questions, corrections, realizations?
Mataji, I had this question. I don't know whether this was correct or wrong. So we have been told that we are part and parcels of Krishna, right, Mataji? So
yes,
today we were discussing in one of the verse where it says that we are unborn, ajam, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So how can I relate this to Mataji? Since we are part and parcels of Krishna, we might have come from him at certain point, right?
Yes, Prabhu. Very good question. So, part and parcel does not mean that. So, remember, I talked about the concept of time, that it is difficult for us to understand a time when, it's a state of existence where there is no time. Timelessness is very difficult for a jiva to understand. Okay. But actually, we come from a timeless world. Okay. So, there was no point of time where it's not like we came from the body of Krishna. Okay. It's not like that. Part and parcel of Krishna means that we are same, just like a drop of ocean belongs to the ocean. Okay. In that way, we are part and parcel. We are qualitatively same. We are servants of the Lord. We are, like I can say, I am part and parcel of my country, of India. It does not mean in a way that you are understanding that we dropped out from his body at a certain point of time. Okay, because time, remember, does not exist, and nor did we just drop out from his body like that. So we are his part and parcel, as in we are same in quality. He's also Satchidanand Roop. We are also Satchidanand Roop. He has always existed since time immemorial. We have also existed since time immemorial. Okay, there is no existence of time in the spiritual world. Okay, so time does not exist there. So we cannot say that at any point we took birth from his body. Okay, it does not exist like that. Um, Timeless state is just very difficult for us to accept. That's why I was saying, just accept Krishna's words here when he's saying you are unborn. You have to accept it as such, because we cannot imagine something without time. But spiritual world is actually without time. There is no time does not trap us there as it traps us here. But please understand, when we say part and parcel, it's not like we are just dropping out of his body or something. He's a complete whole. We are also whole, and we are serving him in an eternal relationship, always there. and will always do. In this way, we are eternal, we are unborn. Does that make sense, Prabhuji? I don't know if I'm explaining it.
Yes, Mataji, that was clear. Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Okay, I think we'll stop because we have exceeded the time. Any other questions, realizations we can cover next time. Thank you everyone for joining. Vancha kaltarubhyascha kripa sindhuvevacha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Gurve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Krishna. Hare